In an enchanting journey through the centuries, we delve into the heart of the preserved region of the Périgord, where the remnants of the Middle Ages stand majestically. From cobbled streets to spectacular panoramas, this film will transport you to an enchanting universe where the three medieval jewels of Rocamadour, Saint-Cirq-la-Popie and Sarlat will reveal their eternal splendor. We will soak up the enchanting atmosphere of these medieval cities, where every stone tells a story. Today, we offer you a glimpse of this magnificent region, highlighting these three emblematic villages, perfectly embodying the history and beauty of this area and painting an unforgettable picture of medieval France. Welcome to the heart of the medieval treasures of the Périgord, where every village, every street, every stone is a vibrant testament to the fascinating history of France, yesteryears. Perched on a cliff overlooking a meander of the Lot River, Saint-Cirq-la-Popie is a masterpiece of the medieval period. The village is reflected in the waters of the Lot below and integrates spectacularly with its cliff. Dominating the fortified church, the houses with steep roofs, covered in brown tiles, reveal their harmonious volumes along the picturesque streets. Straight out of the Middle Ages, this partially classified historic monument village is the best explored on foot, as if to better absorb the nobility of its architecture, the elegance of its arcades, stairs, and fortified doors. The medieval town of Saint-Cirq-la-Popie boasts no fewer than 13 historic monuments. During the Middle Ages, 4 different lordships were established: the Gourdon, the Cardaillac, the Castelnau, and the La Popie. As lovers of beautiful views, we decide to climb up to the rock of La Popie. From there, one can admire a 360-degree panorama of the Lot Valley. The water sparkles against the green cliffs and captivates the gaze, while on the other side, the ochre roofs of the city stretch. We discover the village church, which was initially the chapel of the local lords who had built their castles nearby, the families of La Popie and the Cardaillac. The chapel dates from the second half of the 12th century, following an east-west axis. The construction of the church began in the first half of the 16th century. The building was classified as a historical monument on July 13, 1911. Every corner bears witness to the remnants of this era: cobbled streets, wooden and stone facades, trefoil windows, All these ancestral details line the village and give it a certain charm and authenticity. It's easy to understand why the village of Saint-Cirq-la-Popie has charmed many artists, like the writer André Breton, who, upon discovering the village one evening in June 1950, succumbed to the magic of this place. He even gave it a poetic image by comparing the village to an impossible rose in the night. Following this discovery, he made the former Mariners Inn his summer residence. We admire the spectacular view of the village and stroll through its peaceful streets, all while refreshing ourselves with a good ice cream. After this fascinating and relaxing visit, we head back on the road towards Rocamadour. Arriving, we discover a majestic place, nestled in the heart of an impressive cliff, unfolding into a succession of levels. In the middle of the cliff, the sanctuary clings like a heavenly refuge, while above, like a vigilant guardian, the medieval castle majestically dominates, offering a breathtaking panorama of the village sprawling below. In the second half of the 12th century, the pilgrimage, which was very modest until then, quickly gained great importance. Numerous miracles occurred there, to the point that 126 of them were authenticated and recorded in a book in 1172. In the Middle Ages, the crowds that went to Rocamadour came from all over Europe. In short, as you may have understood, Rocamadour is a citadel of faith. We begin our visit from the top of the cliff and discover the castle, which is today the residence of the chaplains. We decide to climb onto the ramparts dating back to the 14th century, reminding us that the castle was primarily part of the defensive system of the sanctuary during the Middle Ages. Its construction likely dates back to the 13th century. During the 100 Years' War, their purpose was to protect the sanctuary and the city from the top of the plateau. And the view is truly spectacular. The fortress served during the violent religious wars, but became obsolete during the Renaissance. As a result, by the 17th century, it was no longer maintained and fell into ruin. Upon the advice of a friend, Abbot Caillot, the priest of Sainte Geneviève in Paris, comes to rest in Rocamadour. Very ill, he celebrates Mass in the chapel of Notre Dame, which we will discover later, and he asked for help from the Black Virgin. Miraculously, he instantly regains his health. To thank her, he bought the fortress, which was put up for auction by the municipality on September 11, 1836, with the intention of restoring it and installing his congregation, the Priest of Mercy. The work was completed in 1841. Below the castle, we discover the esplanade, where the Jerusalem cross is located, brought back from the Holy Land by pilgrims in 1887. Here is where the penitents, after a long and difficult pilgrimage, would rid themselves of their chains, hoping to find redemption. We now take the path of the cross downhill towards the sanctuary. The stations of the cross were set up in the 19th century and are marked by 14 stations depicting the different stages of the martyrdom of Christ before his crucifixion. The 14th station represents the entombment of Jesus Christ. Other stages illustrate the moment when Jesus is stripped of his clothes. He falls under the weight of the cross. The help he receives from Simon of Cyrene to carry it. Jesus' body being taken down from the cross, as well as the poignant moments of comfort he offers to the women of Jerusalem who weep for him. The presence of granite crosses marking each station adds to the solemnity of the experience. Some will say that the way of the cross is much more than just a walk, that it is a profound spiritual experience that allows pilgrims to relive and meditate on the crucial events of the Passion of Christ while connecting with the surrounding nature and drawing from their own faith and devotion. In any case, one thing is certain. This is a must-see in Rocamadour, and the atmosphere of reflection and meditation is enhanced by the picturesque character and panoramic view of the Alzou Valley. We arrived at the foot of the Way of the Cross, in front of the Saint-Martial Gate, marking the exit of the sanctuary to the Way of the Cross. We then pass through a corridor that leads us to the heart of the impressive sanctuary. The Basilica of Saint Saviour overlooks the entire complex and offers a first glimpse of the spiritual grandeur of this millennia-old place. A courtyard bordered by 7 chapels opens in front of us. We enter the Notre Dame Chapel, where the statue of the Black Madonna stands majestically, a source of numerous miracles. Around her, pilgrims lay down their prayers and supplications, bearing witness to their unwavering faith. Survivors of shipwrecks would leave boat models, and the ill disabled and sick would hang their crutches. It's believed to have the power to announce the miracles of shipwreck survivors who invoked the Black Madonna of Rocamadour. We also discover the superb 12th century exterior painting above the Saint Michel Chapel, depicting the Annunciation and the Visitation. Through these sacred buildings, the Basilica and the 7 chapels, we are transported into a universe of spirituality and devotion where each stone seems imbued with history and faith. Rocamadour is rich in legends and mythical tales that add a mystical dimension to its history. The most famous are the legend of Saint Amador, which tells that in 1166 monks accidentally discovered the tomb with a perfectly preserved body without any bodily decomposition. The legend of the Black Madonna, a walnut statue dating back to the 12th century, according to the Book of Miracles, performs miracles, healings, and even save sailors. It's for her and around her that the sanctuary was built. The legend of the Durandal sword, which tells that Roland, a knight of Charlemagne, who was fighting with his men against the Saracens in the Pyrenees, was wounded, and not wanting his sword to fall into enemy hands, he called upon the Archangel Michael for help and threw his sword, which landed in the rock of Our Lady of Rocamadour. The legend of the 7 stars, symbolizing the 7 chapels, tells that 7 stars shone above Rocamadour, guiding pilgrims to the sanctuary. These legends add a mystical dimension to the history of Rocamadour and contribute to its allure as a pilgrimage site and tourist attraction. We conclude our visit by heading into the medieval citadel and taking the famous grand staircase which pilgrims used to climb on their knees. During the ascent, at each step, pilgrims would meditate and recite praise. More than just a spiritual journey, it was for them an ascent to the divine grace. We discover a medieval city with winding alleys guarded by a series of fortified gates. At its heart, we find the main square, once bustling with markets and local festivities. Today, this space is a meeting and relaxation spot, lined with restaurants, artisan shops, and sunny terraces where we can enjoy the friendly atmosphere. As our visit began at the top of the cliff, we cheated and came back, taking the inclined elevator, which was built in 1989. We now head towards Sarlat-la-Canéda, a city steeped in history and charm, boasting one of the densest medieval urban ensembles in the world. We stroll along Rue de la République before delving into its picturesque alleys. It's a renowned major tourist site, primarily dating back to the medieval period and the early Renaissance from the 13th to the 16th century. Its city center was built and developed around its original Carolingian Benedictine abbey. Of great homogeneity, it consists of a maze of picturesque alleys, shady squares bordered by townhouses with slate roofs. Among the most famous are La Boétie House, the Dubarry Hotel, the Savignac Hotel, and the Présidial. Now, we discover the majestic Saint Sacerdos Cathedral, a symbol of Sarlat religious greatness in the Middle Ages. It's said to have been established in the first half of the 9th century by Pepin, king of Aquitaine. Following its Carolingian construction, a Romanesque structure succeeded, of which only the 12th century bell tower remains, the oldest part of the building. Reusing certain Romanesque parts of the old abbey church, the overall style of the cathedral is Gothic inspired by the north. Inside, we find an organ dating from 1752. Behind the cathedral apse is the Lantern of the Dead, probably built in the last third of the 12th century, around 1180, in the Saint Benoit cemetery.
Despite the distance, I'm right here with you. Despite the distance, I'm right here with you.
Right next to it is the city's nerve center, Place de la Liberté, lined with terraces, hosting the market where regional specialties such as foie gras, truffles, figs and walnuts are sold. With its medieval streets and preserved architecture, Sarlat is much more than just a historic city. It's also a popular location for the film industry due to its unique atmosphere and picturesque scenery. Many directors have chosen the city as a backdrop for their films, capturing the magic of this historically rich place. Among the films shot in Sarlat, we can mention The Miracles of the Wolves and The Hunchback of Paris, starring Jean Marais, D'Artagnan's Daughter with Sophie Marceau, Les Misérables with Lino Ventura, Fanfan la Tulipe with Vincent Perez, and Le Chocolat with Johnny Depp. These films have exploited Sarlat's authentic settings to recreate medieval and historical atmospheres, taking advantage of the charm of the cobblestone streets, half-timbered houses, and churches of the city. Directors are drawn to its preserved architecture, which provides an ideal setting for film set in different eras, from medieval tales to historical dramas. Thus, Sarlat continued to inspire filmmakers from around the world who find in this city an endless source of inspiration for their cinematic works. Night falls, and we enjoy the lively atmosphere of the city for one last stroll under the stars, imprinting our memories with the excitement and enchanting charm of Sarlat. At the end of our journey through time and the enchanting landscapes of the Périgord, from Saint-Cirq-la-Popie, perched like a balcony over the Lot Valley, to the mystical vertically of Rocamadour, and the cobbled streets and golden facades of Sarlat, each stage of our journey has been an encounter with timeless beauty and the poetry of centuries past. May these exceptional places remain forever etched in our hearts as precious memories, reminding us the magic and the splendor of these places where time seems to stand still, allowing us to dream and marvel. We invite you to be enchanted by the beauty and captivating history of the Périgord. See you soon for new discoveries.